Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing another Miniverse Make It Mini sneaker. I think this is the ice cream shoe because there are pencil marks and there's a mark right there on the R. And according to the Meeny Miny Mo website, should be the ice cream one, so let's see. And it is. They're Neapolitan shoes. That's cute. So it kind of looks like a waffle cone. The swirls from the ice cream. So those are the stickers. Also have our mixing bowl. We have our substance. The heel's gonna be like that brownish cone color, I guess. We have the mold, which just has the eyes in GS for good sneaks. And then the shoe boxes for these ones are a little bit different. They like pull out instead of the lid flapping up like that. So in here you have the pieces of the shoe and the brown laces. Everything is marked on the inside with a R for right or L for F for left. And then you're gonna wanna put those in piles before you start. Shoelaces kind of have like a sheen to them, that's cool. And then, of course, you have the instructions. It's pretty simple. The longest part is you literally have to let them set for like an hour. But overall, very easy. So let's go through and make a pile. That's left, that's right, that's left, right, right, and left. Okay, open the stickers. Okay, this part is fairly easy. You're gonna put the front of the shoe on first. And there's tabs on the side, and those go into the sole of the shoe. Sometimes you do kind of have to wiggle them around, and sometimes it's easier than others, and they move a little bit when you're trying to put the shoe together. But once you have them all in there, it's pretty sturdy-ish. There we go. They should be all the way through like that. And then this part goes into the side. And the instructions are done very nicely, pretty detailed. I feel like more detailed. Maybe they heard that in past sets we were having questions, so they made it a little bit more clear. So it should look like this at the bottom where you can see all the tabs. And then we'll do the same thing with this one. Flip it over, add those in. It's pretty easy. See, that one snapped right in. I really struggled with some of the other ones and had to use tweezers to like pull them through. But yeah, that looks good. So that's what they're going to look like. There's always like a tiny gap, at least on one side of the shoe. But I guess you can kind of hold it a certain way when you put it in the mold to maybe kind of help that. But very cute. We have the brown soles, light strawberry color, and then we're going to put on our stickers. I always start with that big piece that wraps around the back. And there are lines on there so you can tell where it's gonna go. I tend to kind of do one side, then guide it around, stretch it a little bit if you need to. That's cute. And then it leaves a little spot for the heel, and then there is a sticker for the heel. Make sure the G and the S, or the eyeballs, are going the right way. That's very cute. And then you can probably see it pretty good with this shoe. Anytime you see this kind of like checkered pattern at the bottom, that's how you know which way the stickers go. So for example, this one has that cone design, and then at the bottom it has that checkered, so you know that that goes there because the checkered part is the bottom, if that made any sense at all. And I always start by butting it up to the sticker I already have, and then kind of guiding it like that. And then the brown one, same thing. That part goes at the bottom. Gonna butt it up to what's already there. So it looks like that. How cute is that? Next side. So this goes like that. I always try to start from the bottom. Sometimes your finger's kind of in the way, so I just gently stick it one spot and then kind of move it where I need it to be. Then you can press it down. They do reposition pretty nicely if you need to move them, because I have done that before. So I can grab it by this side. I feel like these stickers fit more exact than the other ones. And I mean, maybe they're intentionally supposed to have a gap sometimes, because that could be with the way shoes are. I normally just gently place that and grab it if I need to move it. So that one is completely done. Let me do the other one. Here's how they look so far. They're very cute. Now we're going to mix up these. So we start with the A substance, because that's the bottom fill line. You will have a little bit left in each bag. I suggest just leaving it in the bag so that you know if you need more. I have mixed up extra after it's set to fill in areas. So I don't suggest mixing all of this. So that should be right at the line there. And it is, so now we're going to open the B and fill it up to the B line. Ooh, it looks like caramel. Just one more dot, there we go. I'm going to use a toothpick to mix this for approximately 1 minute. That's what it says on the instructions. And you can use that little tool that it came with, but I use that to measure the mold to make sure it's deep enough. So I want to keep it clean until I do that. Now we're going to evenly pour this. It will kind of settle into the grooves. And if there's any air bubbles, they tend to just pop. I haven't had to pop any or had any issues with them showing up. Add a little bit over here. There should be a little bit left over in your mixing container. You don't want to overfill it. And you can just leave it in there. It comes out really easily. But use this little shoehorn-like device and make sure it's coming up to that black line. And do it from 3 spots there. I feel like the toe area is always lacking a little. So I will add just a touch to that. Actually, maybe I will. This will be the first time I use all of it, that's for sure. Just a little. Okay. Now we're going to gently place the shoe in there, make sure all the tabs are in. Everything's nice and together, and it will fit exact. You can tap it down just a little. You don't want to push it down too much, but Give it a little wiggle. If anything comes up here, you can take a toothpick and clean that up. That looks good. Okay, now I'm going to set a 1-hour timer and I'll be back to unmold them. Okay, it has been an hour. I'm a little worried about the heel of this one, but we'll see. It just didn't look like the back was completely pushed down or pushed down far enough. So it comes up a little bit, but I think it's fine. Now let's check this one. Yep, see? I knew it. See how there's a gap there? The sticker, it just wouldn't go down in the mold. So I'm gonna mix up whatever I have left and kind of fill it in there. I've done that before. Typically they come out fine and you don't need to do that. But let me use my toothpick to pop that. Once you get under it, then it lifts out really easily. Then I will remix what I have left. Okay, I have that mixed up and I'm going to put some on my toothpick and just kind of let it go into the crevice. And then I smooth it out so it's not like bulky or lumpy or anything like that. And then yeah, just let it dry for an hour again. I guess I could have laced them first and then, you know, did this part. But just make sure you wipe off any areas you don't want it on. And that's all you do. Kind of blend it like that. Then you can kind of lean it. I don't know how I did that. I did it with a different one where I just put it back in the mold. Just as long as it stays upright and set a timer, and that's all I gotta do. I guess I can start lacing this one since this one's fine. It doesn't look like there's any areas I need to add anything to. Now I have the lace, which is really long. And this one you could actually see really well. They dip the ends of it. That way it's stiff and you can lace them pretty easily. So make sure you pull the strings back and make sure that they're even or as close as even as possible. That was almost exact. Oh, no, it wasn't. I thought it was, but it doesn't have to be exact. You will have a lot left over. But this is the most time-consuming part. You crisscross them, and I always go through the top. That's what it looks like on the instructions. But you can always experiment, and then if you don't like it, redo it. Kind of want to pull it tight if you don't want your laces to look loose or messy. And then when I get done, I don't cut the laces just in case. I just stuff them inside the shoe. But I guess it just depends what you're doing with it. If you're going to display it or if you're going to use it for like a Monster High doll or a Ken doll. You can leave them on there if you want to tie them or anything else. So I will come back once the shoe has set up on the other one and I have laced both of them. Here is the final product. I guess if you wanted to be more particular, you can very carefully remove that because it is rubbery. If you didn't want it bleeding onto the sticker part of it, but overall, I think these are fun. Cute idea to have food themed ones. I will probably still look for the ramen one because that's the only one that I wanted that I didn't get. But yeah, other than that, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Check out my other videos if you want to see more. And yeah, I was able to, where did I repair it? Right here. I was able to fill it in. It does have like a little bit of glossy instead of a matte to it, but I think it looks better now that you can't see that little gap. Thanks so much for watching. Bye guys.